Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Cayman Haven. It's been a while, but I'm back, and today's just gonna be me. I'm just gonna be doing a solo review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is the director's cut of the Justice League movie that first came out in 2017. So I'm doing this video by myself just because I wanted to throw my thoughts out quickly and just put it out there. Because I've just seen it, it's all fresh in my mind, and I just want to get this video out. I'm a huge fan of DC. I love the DC movies. I consider myself to be a DC fanboy. When it comes to the comic book movies, I just prefer DC over Marvel. So, take this review with a grain of salt. I am kind of embarrassed to admit, but I was actually a huge fan of the 2017 version, which is, in hindsight, kind of embarrassing, and I'm kind of ashamed to admit that. I actually didn't mind it at all. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was still really hard not to notice that there was just something missing about the film, overall. There's a lot of scenes from the trailers and the marketing material that never actually made it into the film. There's all these scenes and, conversations and dialogue between characters that were either that never actually made it into the final film or were repurposed. So what did I think about Zack Snyder's Justice League? I thought the movie was awesome. I thought it was incredible. I cannot believe this movie exists. Watching this film, it's kind of wow, it feels like a completely different movie. I've seen it 3 times now, which is crazy because the movie's 4 hours long, so I've lost 12 hours of my life now, which is crazy. But this movie gave me chills, man. This movie really, I got goosebumps as I was watching it, and I don't remember the last time I had that feeling of watching a movie and just feeling oh my god, I'm about to witness something incredible. Yeah, I don't think I've had that feeling watching a movie since The Dark Knight, and it was really epic. The scale of the movie is so different. Within 5 minutes of the movie starting, it felt completely different from the 2017 version. And it's crazy because the first 5 minutes of the movie communicated a sense of scale that the entirety of the 2017 Joss Whedon version did not convey. The movie is really dark, it's somber, it's grim, it's violent. It has an R rating, which is incredible. There's blood and bodies are being cut in half, heads are being decapitated. It's crazy. There's also a lot of gravitas, it's really epic. And Zack Snyder has his critics, Zack Snyder has his detractors, and people often make fun of the fact that he's so he can be so over the top in how he communicates the sense of drama and the threat and the stakes of his films. But I felt like the film being dark actually works for this movie because when the movie begins, Superman has already died, all hope is lost kind of thing, so it makes sense. And for the first time, I really felt like Zack Snyder's style actually benefited the film overall, because I feel everything needed to be dark and somber and kind of grim, to communicate the sense of hope that was lost because Superman died in the film. To say that there was a lot of stuff that was left on the cutting room floor is kind of an understatement. I think the original movie was maybe 30%. This is undeniably a Zack Snyder movie through and through. All his sense of style, his artistic vision, everything is intact, including his idiosyncrasies as well. And it's 4 hours, it's kind of self-indulgent, but at the same time, you can't help but admire how committed he is to what he was trying to present with this story, okay? And the thing that I love most about this movie is that when you compare it to Marvel, Marvel has done a really good job of making their films feel like a comic book movie brought to life. The Marvel movies have done such a great job of making these movies feel it's a comic book and it's leaping out of the page. What I love so much about Zack Snyder's Justice League is that instead of drawing aspirations from the comic book, the source material, the movie is also drawing influences from other genres and films that we don't really see Hollywood make anymore. I was getting huge Lord of the Rings vibes from this film. the mythology, the lore, the human race that's living on Earth, like all this backstory, it all feels really rich and really well thought out. And there's an incredible sense of world building that I feel like even the Marvel movies don't really have that sense of epicness. I also like that it felt like 300 at times. Like it felt like Gladiator, like all the stuff with the Amazonian warriors. It felt like, yeah, it's basically like 300 but with like women. We don't have sword and sandals movies anymore, you know? Like remember when they used to make movies like Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, movies like Troy. Like they don't make these, you know, big like historical epics anymore, and that's what I felt like it was trying to do. And there was also like the cyborg stuff felt like, you know, a combination of RoboCop and Frankenstein's monster, all the Kryptonian stuff, like it felt like Alien and Prometheus. And then all the fantasy stuff is like Lord of the Rings and, you know, Game of Thrones. And I just thought that was like, I just really love the fact that it was drawing all these inspirations from other things that we don't really see from Hollywood anymore. I think for me, I'm just really baffled by the fact that they stripped out so much good stuff, even just from a story point of view. Like the fact that like Cyborg is like the heart and soul of this movie, and you wouldn't know that when you watch the 2017 movie. So one of the things I love about this movie is the fact that I felt like there was a lot of themes around fathers and sons. It's about ancestors, it's about forefathers coming together with old generation and new generation. And I felt like the themes of fathers and sons were much more reinforced in this movie. And like you have Batman, obviously, you know, he's got his whole like his father and his mother, and then you've got, you know, obviously Superman, who's like, you know, he's got his dad Jonathan Kent and his dad Jor-El, and you've got Aquaman, who's got like complicated relationship that going on with his mother. And then you've got the mother and daughter relationship between Wonder Woman and Queen Hippolyta. And then obviously Flash and his dad as well. And then all of the father and son themes, I just felt was like really strong and really emotional. And all of that is anchored around the Cyborg character, who's also got like a relationship thing happening with his father. And all of that father and son stuff just felt so much more emotional and personal this time. Just because like a lot of that just felt, you know, because of what happened to Zack Snyder himself in real life. Obviously, he had a, you know, personal tragedy, and like his daughter has tragically passed away in real life. And you could really, and all of that stuff was so emotional, and you feel like it really fed like into all the father and son stuff. Just really felt like it took on a whole new meaning for me. And yeah, it's crazy, like all the stuff that they omitted. There's so many like huge character moments that I'm missing, and it's just kind of like, why? Like this is all like important character stuff, and you've taken all of them out of the movie, and it's just kind of like, what are you left with at the end of the day? There's like, you know, really really cool like action stuff that's like missing from the film, and a lot of them are like they're not very long. They're only like a few minutes long, and it has characters doing like really badass cool stuff. Like why would you ever cut that from the movie? And it's great because the action sequences in this were like, they ran longer. There's lots of really cool choreography and like little action beats that you never saw. Like for example, the Wonder Woman, like her first introduction in the movie where she's like trying to stop a bunch of terrorists. Like that has a few like action beats where you actually get to see her do some cool stuff. Like the stuff with the Amazonians like fighting at the start of the movie, trying to protect the mother box from Steppenwolf, the villain. Like there's so many beats in there that like we never saw in the 2017 version, and it's nice to see them play out in its full glory here. The Flash, for example, like he has like a major like final heroic badass moment where he gets to use his powers in a major climactic moment, and that's completely gone from the 2017 movie. And it's just kind of like it's really shocking that they would leave these major like, you know, character defining moments out of the film. I actually really liked the redesign of Steppenwolf. I thought he looked really cool and badass this time. I love all the stuff with the Atlanteans, all the Aquaman stuff. I felt like all of that retroactively made Aquaman a better movie. I really like Willem Dafoe. Like I like the fact that he's here. Like he's not in the 2017 movie, and he's here, and There's more stuff with Mira, played by Amber Heard, who was really, really good. Like, I really liked Amber Heard as Mira in this movie. And there's just a little bit more stuff to hint at, you know, her sort of relationship with Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and all of that is just like feeding into the Aquaman movie. All the Amazonian stuff is like obviously amazing. Connie Nielsen, who is Wonder Woman's mother, she was awesome. I thought she was like great, and we get to see more of her, and just seeing more of her like reinforces the whole like her connection with Diana and Diana's, you know, sort of her lineage to the Amazonians, and what an important part she plays to like sort of save the world and stop, you know, Steppenwolf and the bad guys. I really like the music. I thought the music this time was much better. I like the fact that they brought back Hans Zimmer's like Man of Steel score. I thought that score was like just like a nice like little tie-in to remind you that Man of Steel was a huge part of this DCEU. There's like a new like Wonder Woman Amazonian theme, which like has like a choir chanting kind of thing that reminded me of like 300 and Gladiator, and it's a little bit over the top, but it's like every time like Wonder Woman or the Amazonians would be like in a fight or something, you just hear the music go like ay, 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 and it's just kind of like so it's like so over the top, but it works because you just kind of get swept up in the ridiculousness of it all, and you just, you know, you're just along for the ride, you know? So I like to end the review by talking about Wonder Woman. And then in the process, I guess I kind of like want to talk about my favorite DC movies. And I know there's a lot of conversation out there. A lot of people really, really enjoyed this movie. And I'm already hearing, you know, the buzz online is that everybody thinks that this is the best DC movie ever made. And, you know, I don't completely disagree with them. But I think for me, personally, I still think that guys, I love Wonder Woman 1984. I really love what Patty Jenkins did with that movie. And even after watching it 3 times, I think I'm still going to put Wonder Woman 1984 above Zack Snyder's Justice League. It has a superior score by Hans Zimmer. I really like the cheesiness, the playfulness, how bright and colorful it is as well. I think it has like a way better villain, and a villain that's more relatable. It really does feel like the villains in Zack Snyder's Justice League, it really just felt like they're just another Thanos. Like, it just felt like they're just like bad guys who want to like, we're gonna take over the world and we're just gonna plunge the world in darkness. And it just feels like a very typical comic book villainy kind of thing. So that's why I really like the villain in Wonder Woman 1984, who's played by, you know, Pedro Pascal. I like the fact that, you know, we've got a guy who's greedy and nothing is ever enough for this villain, and he's willing to, you know, sacrifice his own dignity, his own conscience in order to achieve what he wants. And I feel like this is a much more relatable sort of motivation for a villain. So that's where I'm coming from. I feel like Patty Jenkins really gets Wonder Woman as a character. And even though Zack Snyder was responsible for casting Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I really feel like Patty Jenkins was able to explore her character in interesting ways. Wonder Woman is my favorite DC character at the moment. She's my favorite character. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Gal Gadot is playing her, and she brings a lot of character, a lot of heart and charm to Wonder Woman, as well as, you know, her solo movies. I feel like her movies are better, and it feels like there's a lot more care and attention that's being put into the story and the characters. You know, just reading the responses online, it's clear that a lot of people really, really love Zack Snyder's version of this character. Like, a lot of people really, really enjoy Warrior Diana. And they really like, you know, Warrior Diana, who's like, she's got a sword and a shield, and she's like, you know, being very physical and really aggressive in the fights and stuff. But I don't know. It's weird because you're watching this movie, and in her introduction, she's killing people. When she first shows up, she's like literally smashing doors in. She's like punching people and throwing people into walls and breaking their backs, but she kills people as well, and she's killing them in front of kids. And I do wonder, is that what people want Wonder Woman to be? Because we already have all these characters that are like destroying stuff and punching and killing people. Like, we've got Superman, we've got Aquaman, we've got Batman, all these characters that are like really aggressive and they're destroying stuff and killing people. And I feel like we don't need another character. We don't need Wonder Woman to do that as well. The reason why I brought that up is because I feel like Patty Jenkins did such a great job with Wonder Woman 1984. Even though we had Warrior Diana in the 2017 Wonder Woman movie, I felt like Patty Jenkins introduced, you know, Protector Diana, which is the version of Wonder Woman that I like. The one that's like not out just to like kill people and stuff, and is like, she doesn't have a sword and a shield. I really like Wonder Woman with just the lasso. I feel like the lasso is like her iconic weapon. The way that, you know, Captain America's shield is like his iconic weapon. I feel like we don't need the sword and the shield. We just have the lasso, and I just felt like that's the iconic Wonder Woman for me. And I really like the way Wonder Woman is depicted in her movie as well. Like, I feel like she's not resorting to violence when she's trying to help people. Like, she's using reason and compassion and kindness to dispel a conflict. And, you know, obviously this movie ends with like a huge CG battle, but I think it's really refreshing that Wonder Woman 1984 has an ending where it's like she's not trying to punch the enemy and it's not this big CG battle. I like the fact that she's trying to convince the bad guy to, hey, you know, don't be the bad guy anymore and do the right thing, you know? And I guess people just don't really like that. And so that's just my opinion. And then number 3 would be Aquaman. You know, I think all 3 movies have done such a great job establishing a certain feel, a certain tone. Like, you've got Wonder Woman 1984 that's like, you know, it's meant to be a throwback to the 80s Christopher Reeve Superman movies, and it's meant to be a little bit cheesy, a little bit corny, and it's reflective of that era of when comic book movies were a little bit more fun and not to be taken seriously. And then you've got Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is like, you know, it's really dark and it's somber, but it is reflective of the style of the director. Like, the director's artistic stamp is very much felt in the overall presentation of the movie. Like, Zack Snyder is very much like, he loves his slow motion, you know, the desaturated colors. His movies are very like serious and very self-important, but it's also sort of grandiose and on an almost operatic scale. And then we've got Aquaman, which for me is like, Aquaman feels like a movie that's like a director who's basically reliving all his childhood fantasies. It feels like a kid playing with his action figures in his backyard. Like, that's what Aquaman feels like to me. It's a dumb, silly, big blockbuster movie, but it's also so unabashedly fun and is committed to that feeling of a kid watching his favorite action adventure movie. And I love the look and the visuals of Aquaman as well. So Aquaman is number 3 for me. And aside from Gal Gadot, I really love Jason Momoa as Aquaman as well. Like, I feel like they nailed the casting of this character and he was amazing. My 4th favorite DC movie would be the original Wonder Woman movie in 2017. I really like Wonder Woman 2017. Obviously, it has Warrior Diana that everybody loves. Now, I know it's not a popular opinion that I'm ranking it below 1984, but as much as I love the first Wonder Woman movie and I love all the stuff with the Amazonians and I love the introduction of Diana as well as the World War I setting, I think the third act of the movie is really weak. The movie ends with like a really typical like CG heavy like final battle that feels at odds with the message of the movie. And also, I feel like Patty Jenkins didn't really get a chance to put her own stamp on Wonder Woman. The character still feels like it's Zack Snyder's Wonder Woman, and it isn't until 1984 that Patty Jenkins really got a chance to define and make this character her own. Like, I love the 1984 version of Wonder Woman way more than the original movie. Again, I know everyone's gonna disagree with me on this, but that's just my personal opinion. And then my 5th favorite would be, you know, Shazam. Yeah, Shazam was really good. It was a really nice combination of comedy and horror, and it feels like a kid's movie from the 80s and the 90s. And yeah, overall, I just really liked Shazam for what it was going for. It was a little bit different from the other movies. Like, all these movies feel different, and I think that's what DC has going for it. And yeah, so and I'm not gonna even, you know, like rank the other ones like Suicide Squad and Man of Steel and Birds of Prey will probably be number 6, but like, you know, I'm not gonna go through that. In conclusion, I guess I just want to say that I really enjoyed the movie overall. I thought it was a huge improvement over the 2017 movie. You can really tell that Zack Snyder poured his heart out towards this movie. You really get the sense that he had a vision for this film. and it was really tragic that that was taken away from him. You know, you watch this movie and it's like 4 hours long. Could this movie have been shorter? I think so. I think he could have made a shorter movie, like maybe a 3-hour movie or 2.5-hour movie that would still retain all the best parts of the film. But for me, even though the movie is really long, I feel like, you know, an extra hour, an hour and a half of my time is nothing compared to, you know, how many years they've taken away from Zack Snyder, but by not letting him make the movie that he wants to make. So you know what? If it, you know, takes an extra hour of my life just to enjoy what he made, like being able to, you know, experience the movie that he wanted to make was like that's a huge thing. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Those are my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. If you've enjoyed this review, just leave a like. Thank you for your support. And yeah, hope to see you guys next time. Thanks guys. Catch you guys later. Bye.